With lasers, so lasers are pretty much the closest thing you can think of to magic. The power of lasers is just beyond. It's a lot of physics.
Like, what else can you do with lasers? Are we just doing tattoo removals?
Each laser has its own targeted chromophore. So it has melanin, water, or hemoglobin. So you want to choose a laser depending on what kind of treatment you're looking to get, based on what you're looking to target.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can imagine just as much as lasers are beneficial, they can cause a lot of harm if they're used improperly.
It could be catastrophic. It could definitely damage the skin so much. And like if with laser hair reduction, if you were to go over a tattoo, it would severely burn somebody's skin.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, sponsored by G Skin and Beauty Institute in partnership with estheticians.com. Our guest today is Hannah Michelle. She is a G Skin and Beauty graduate, a national laser graduate, featured on Daytime Chicago News. Hannah is a medical esthetician, a laser technician and instructor, a phlebotomist, and she specializes in tattoo and permanent makeup removal, scar reduction, hyperpigmentation. And today, join us as Hannah shares the insights on starting and advancing your beauty career, effective removal techniques, and advice for the industry newcomers. Hannah, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and so the burning question, right? Why did you choose G Skin and Beauty Institute for your training, for your education, and what brought you to this industry?
So that's a really, really good question. So right outside of high school, I knew that I did not want to go straight to college. I just kind of was always somebody that went against the grain. If people are going that way, I kind of go this way. So I didn't want to go to traditional college, but I did want to get into something that I'm very passionate about. And I've always been passionate about beauty, wellness, health and cosmetics. And so instead of going to college, I found G Skin and Beauty online, and I attended the G Skin and Beauty downtown Chicago on State Street. So that's where I started my aesthetic career, and I became a licensed esthetician there. And it was such a beautiful start to my journey.
I love that. I love that. So what got you into aesthetics? Like, what made you choose this specific field?
So I've always been that teenager that was messing with her skin in the bathroom. I was making concoctions of different things. I would Google stuff online, and I like holistic and natural organic skincare, and G Skin and Beauty is all about that. So that was a perfect fit for me. So I've always kind of been doing skincare and testing stuff on myself in my bathroom and trial and error along the way.
Yeah.
And so that really was just one of my passions. And so I found G Skin and Beauty, and it looked like a good fit because it's all about organic skincare, and it teaches you all about different ingredients. So it was the perfect fit for me.
I love that. And well, that was just your beginning, right? Because now you're completely, I mean, you're still doing aesthetics, right? But you definitely have specialized in a different field, which is like lasers, right? Which is like, I know that right now it's like the new big thing. Everybody's getting lasers, and correct me if I'm wrong, for a lot of people, we think that lasers are really just for tattoo removal. And I mean, really, that's it, right? That's what I think. And I'm sure that the general public also thinks that too. But tell us, what else can you do with laser treatments?
Yeah, with lasers. So lasers are pretty much the closest thing you can think of to magic. The power of lasers is just beyond. It's a lot of physics. So there's a lot of different physics that goes into it. But with lasers, there's so many different ways you can utilize them. So there's different wavelengths. So there's going to be different types of lasers, and they're going to have different wavelengths in them. And some of them are going to be suitable for different skin types. Some of the different wavelengths are going to be ones that can create new collagen in the skin. Some of them can go after hyperpigmentation. Some of them can go more after. So each laser has its own targeted chromophore. So it has melanin, water, or hemoglobin. So you want to choose a laser depending on what kind of treatment you're looking to get, based on what you're looking to target.
Okay. So you did mention something about targeting hyperpigmentation, maybe producing more collagen. Like, what else can you do with lasers? Are we just doing tattoo removals? Or what is, I guess a better question would be, what types of lasers, or is there a specific brand that you would recommend or for people to look for when they're looking for acne treatments, for collagen reproduction, for cosmetic tattoo removal, or regular tattoo removal? Is it all the same machine, or who do you recommend? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so there's definitely so many different brands out there. And I would say that my favorite brands for lasers are going to be Candela, the Candela Gentle Max Pro. That's my favorite laser hair removal device.
Okay.
It's very effective, but it's not super painful like other lasers that I've used. And then there's some other lasers as well for tattoo removal, the Candela Pico Way. So the Pico Way is what I use for tattoo removal and for permanent makeup removal. I use a Pico Way by Candela. And then my favorite IPL photofacial laser, which has many other modalities in it, which is good for acne treatments, building collagen, hyperpigmentation, improving the overall texture of the skin. And that would be the Nautilus.
The Nautilus.
Yes.
Okay. So you just mentioned 3 different lasers. What makes them different?
So they're all going to be kind of similar with what wavelengths they have in them. So a lot of the lasers that I mentioned, they all will have the similar wavelength in it. But each laser device is going to be designed to only go after what we're trying to go after. So if we're only trying to go after ink, it's the Pico Way. The Candela Pico Way is only going to go after the ink in your skin. It's not going to harm or damage the surrounding tissue, which makes it a lot more safer for people to get tattoo removal now. Because before, if you ask somebody who's gotten tattoo removal 20 years ago, they're scarred for life and they never want to get tattoo removal again. But I promise you, technology has changed so much, and that these lasers are so smart and advanced that they are designed to only go after the targeted chromophore in the laser. So a lot of them have the same wavelengths, but they're designed, and there's ways to kind of manipulate the wavelength as well to go after our target in the skin. So if they want to go after tattoo removal ink, we're able to go after that. If they want to go after pigmentation, we can go after that. If they want to remove hair, we have a laser with the similar wavelength that can only go after the hair and the skin, but it's not going to damage the surrounding tissue if it's used correctly by a professional laser technician that's trained on these modalities and that's very knowledgeable about how to utilize them.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I can imagine just as much as lasers are beneficial, they can cause a lot of harm if they're used improperly.
Yes.
You know, not only by the technician, but by the target, right?
Yes.
So if you're using a laser that's not targeted for hair removal, which I didn't even think about, but yeah, laser hair removal, right?
Yeah.
So if you're using the wrong laser, that could be, you know,
It could be
detrimental.
catastrophic. It
Yeah.
could definitely damage the skin so much. And like if with laser hair reduction, if you were to go over a tattoo, it would severely burn somebody's skin. So even though there's the same wavelength in there, it's not the same laser that we would use for tattoo removal. We would use the Pico Way by Candela, which has the same wavelength, but it's specifically designed for only to go after the ink and not to disturb the surrounding tissue, making it safe.
Making it more safe. So I know that I personally have used you for girls that come to me for permanent makeup corrections. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's just nothing I could do.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing that I could do to help you. This is the only other way out. So give us the details of how, like you mentioned briefly, why is the Pico Way laser the laser that you would recommend for like PMU, permanent makeup removal?
So the Pico Way by Candela is my go-to for permanent makeup removal because the way that I utilize it, it's not going to damage the hair follicles. It's not going to cinch the hairs off. It's not going to, in the future, stunt the future hair growth. So that's very important to me, because as much as I would love to remove the ink in their permanent makeup, I really want to make sure that if they have hair there and they want to keep it, that we keep it there, and that we keep the skin healthy, and that we keep the hair follicles healthy. So it's not just about removing the ink. It's about making sure that the overall picture of it is that we maintain everything, and that we're keeping things, and we're not just trying to destroy the ink while destroying other things, because that wouldn't be ethical to me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because, I mean, it's true. They're already trying to get rid of something that they don't like, that they have to see in the mirror every single day. So I can't imagine getting a treatment and then a worse side effect.
Yeah.
If it's not, directed to the right target, which you said is like the ink. And you guys heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Tattoo removal and permanent makeup removal, peek away laser, that's the way to go, says Hannah here.
Yes.
So how does the actual breaking down of the laser, how does it actually work? What is it doing to the pigment? How is it being released through the body? What's happening?
So when the peek away laser, when you're using a laser to go after permanent makeup, it is going to, when it comes out of the laser, it's using light and sound. And so it's coming out of the laser and it's targeting the targeted chromophore, which would be ink. And so when it hits that targeted chromophore, it's almost like a magnet. They're designed for each other. They love each other. So the laser, when it sees the ink, it goes right after it. And so what it does with the light and sound is it shatters it into this very, very small particles, which then get absorbed by your lymphatic system. So it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for your lymphatic system to kind of process out that ink. So you want to come in very hydrated before your treatment, and you want to stay very hydrated afterwards. And it processes through your lymphatic system. So you basically, it just will go through your lymphatic system. We all know where it goes with the lymphatic system.
But maybe we don't. So what is the lymphatic? Are you going to pee it out? Are you sweating it out?
Yeah, so you're usually going to just be urinating it out, but you will not be seeing any ink colors in your urine or anything like that. So if you see any in there, it's not from the permanent makeup.
Yeah. Okay, you're like, that's not going to be a side effect from me.
I always tell them, because I have been asked before, saying, hey, I'm liking my results, but I didn't see anything come out of any change to the color of my urine. But our body is just so amazing with the way that it can filter out toxins, that it's not going, if you have like purple or brown or pink inks in your body, it's not going to come through your urine. Your body's going to filter all of that out, and your urine will look like your urine. Okay.
That's always good to know, because I'm sure, just like that one client that you said, people are looking in the toilet bowls thinking like, wait,
is this working?
Yeah. If it's going through my system, how is it actually coming out, right?
Your urine will not be brown after. And if it is, please call the doctor.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And I'm sure like the burning question too, does laser removal for PMU, for acne, for hyperpigmentation, does it hurt?
So with tattoo removal and permanent makeup removal, depending on the area that you get the tattoo, can vary how much discomfort you'll experience. It also depends on how much ink you have in the area. So the location of the tattoo is going to be a variable of how much discomfort, and then how much percent of ink you have in the area is also going to be a factor in how much it's going to hurt. So each time we do a session, we're removing a certain percent of ink. So it depends on how your body absorbs the laser, or how the ink absorbs the laser, and how much your body will process it through your lymphatic system. So each time that you come in, you're going to have less and less ink. And I always tell my patients, the first one is always going to be the worst. The second is not always the best.
Okay.
The third, we're starting to get somewhere. But each session, it does get less discomforting. So if you are experiencing some discomfort in the beginning, which we can apply numbing cream, or we can do it without numbing cream based on the patient's preference. Each session that we do, it will eventually become less discomforting.
Okay.
As far as when it comes to targeting acne and hyperpigmentation, depending on where that's located, everyone's so different with their sensitivity level that for some people it can be a little bit discomforting. I would say the Nautilus by Candela, that one is not as discomforting.
Okay.
So when we do IPL photofacial sessions, it's not as discomforting, but I don't want to minimize other people's sensitivity because everyone has a different sensitivity level.
Okay, so two quick questions. One, how long, let's say, if you're getting permanent makeup removed, how long is each session?
So each session, depending on if you're going to be numbed, so there's some time for numbing. So if you're going to get numbed, it's probably going to take about 10, 15, possibly 20 minutes for you to be fully numbed before we begin the session. For me to remove permanent makeup, it takes me less than, I like to take my time on eyebrows to make sure that everything's just, because it's a more sensitive area. So I want to make sure that my patient is more comfortable during it. So I'm not going to go as fast as I would with a traditional tattoo. Okay. So with permanent makeup removal, it can be from less than 5 minutes to less than 10 minutes for me to actually do the treatment. It's actually less than that, but I just like to take my time during it and give my patients breaks. I don't want to rush them through the process or feel like they have to bear the pain. I do give them breaks, but as far as doing a tattoo, depending on the size of a traditional tattoo, if it's a larger tattoo, it's still going to take me less than 10 minutes to remove the tattoo.
Wow,
it's incredible. Very fast. It's very fast. But if you add on numbing cream, then you will be sitting there for that amount of time to wait for the numbing cream to sit in. And then once I actually start doing the tattoo removal, it's not going to take that long. So it can take still between 10 to 5 minutes or less. Sometimes it's seconds.
That's amazing.
It's
and
magical.
I'm sure like reassuring for everybody to think like, okay, well, you can do anything for a few seconds, right? So finally get rid of all those pesky tattoos that you've been wanting to forever. And, you know, I know that personally, I've seen so many girls with the permanent makeup, you know, like get it off your face, girlfriend. It's time. It's time. And you can go to Hannah for this.
And I've gone through the process myself with removing permanent makeup as well. So not only do I provide it, but I've also gone through the process myself. I've received tattoo removal on myself as well.
Okay.
On my breaks, I like to experiment and everything like that. And I like to do it with no numbing cream so I see
and feel everything?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, and I would have to say that that's probably like the person that I would trust. Like, how are you going to promote something that you've never tried?
Exactly.
Right? So you can tell people firsthand, like, this is what it's going to do. So then my second question, like, you know, part B of this is how many times do people typically have to come in for, let's say, a tattoo removal or permanent makeup or acne, hyperpigmentation?
Yeah. So every tattoo is going to be a little bit unique. So everyone's lymphatic system, how much ink they have in the tattoo, the area of the tattoo. So the farther away the tattoo is from your heart, the slower the amount of ink that will process through your system. So if you have an ankle tattoo, it's going to take a lot longer versus if we're working on your arm. So there's so many different variables that can kind of factor into that. But typically what I see with traditional tattoos, if it's deep line tattoos that are going to be deeper in the dermis and it has a high concentration of ink, you're looking at around between 8 to 10 sessions. When it comes to permanent makeup removal on your eyebrows, it can be anywhere from 2 sessions all the way up to possibly 5. But typically I will see between 2 to 4 sessions it'll take. Sometimes less. I've seen it come off in just 1.
Yeah.
But I don't like to overpromise or guarantee. I'd rather give somebody some realistic expectations of what they can expect with how long it's going to take. And if it comes off sooner than that, then we're all happy.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If somebody tells me it's going to take me 10 weeks to lose 10 pounds and then I do it in 2 weeks, then how amazing is that, right? I love that. I love that. So for getting these treatments, like what do you have to do beforehand and what do you do afterwards?
I love this question because this is very, very important. So there definitely is some pre-care and there's some post-care afterwards. So you want to avoid the sun. It's very important to keep the area that we're going to be treating out of the sun. So it cannot have direct sun exposure in the area. So before your appointment, you want to, like if we're removing your eyebrows, you want to wear a hat, wear SPF. Don't lay out in the sun, please.
Yeah.
Right before your appointment. And that's for 14 days before.
I was just going to ask that. That was going to be my second question.
And
how many days?
And 14 days after. So you want to keep it out of the sun for 14 days before and 14 days after in the specific area. I don't mind if you are in the sun in other areas in your body, but as far as the area that we're treating, I cannot treat them if they have direct sun exposure in that area in under 14 days or even a spray tan.
Oh, really?
Yes, no spray tan.
No spray tanning? Mm-mm. So why is that? Why no spray tanning?
So the reason why patients aren't supposed to get spray tans 14 days before their appointment is because the tattoo goes after targeted chromophores, it may pick up the suntan solution or the sun tanning lotion as a synthetic ink or something. So all of that energy that's supposed to go down into your dermis to go after the ink in your tattoo, it may go right on the surface of your skin. And that's where you could lead to a burn, hyperpigmentation, or scarring. So no spray tans either, no Jergens tanning lotion before.
Well, good thing you're mentioning all those things. So like no tanning lotions, ladies, no spray tans, none of that. Like you need to, and I think you need to have a consultation before you go in and get a treatment like this done, right? You can't just like walk down the street and say, oh, I'm going to pop into Hannah. She's doing laser removals.
Yeah, you have to be cleared beforehand. We want to make sure that you're going to be a good candidate, that you understand what to expect, but that it's going to be safe to do that day. So if they have contraindications, then we'll have to move it for a different time. That where it'll be more safe and effective, because doing it the right way is much better than doing it the faster way, because that's how mistakes can happen, and you don't want to make a worse situation worse.
Yes.
Because it's going to take longer.
Yes, I love what you just said. You know, it's not fast, it's efficient, right? It's like
exactly.
And you're a skin specialist, so I can understand how you want to preserve that skin, and this is why you take all of these steps.
Yes.
So you actually just mentioned something. What are the contradictions? Who cannot get tattoo removal or acne laser treatments and hyperpigmentation? Are there people that cannot receive these services ever?
Yeah, so if somebody is pregnant or nursing at the time, we cannot treat you. If you're on Accutane, we cannot treat you for about 6 months to a year. So you would have to be off of Accutane from your last dose of Accutane for about 6 months to a year. I like to play it safe, so I'm going to make you wait a year. If you have epilepsy or seizures that are caused from light, we're unfortunately unable to treat you as well, because a lot of the lasers emit flashing lights that could trigger a seizure. If anyone is on chemotherapy or radiation at the time, we want to give their body, because they've gone through so much, and we want to give their body the necessary time to actually heal and become healthy again after going through all of that treatment before we go in and do a treatment. So we would make them wait a year.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's better to play it safe than sorry. It's like, especially when you're dealing with the largest organ of your body, right? And you don't get another skin.
Yeah, our skin lasts us a lifetime, so we have to take care of it.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm happy that, you're also in the game for, the benefit of the general public and your clients, and not just trying to rush it. This is not about money for you. This is definitely about integrity and your client's skin and their overall health, which says so much about you, Hannah. It really does.
Thank you. The goal for me with tattoo removal is to make it look like the tattoo was never there. And so in order to do that, we have to follow the necessary steps and avoid certain things that would affect that negatively and cause us to have side effects that we don't want, because some of them could become more permanent, or some of them could just make how long it's going to take to fix that
Okay.
Once it happens, it's just going to prolong it. So we might as well just do it the right way. It only takes a few weeks to kind of avoid the sun and to avoid the certain things that we have to avoid. Also, you can't be on retinol beforehand or tretinoin, things like that. So if patients are on those kind of topicals, which I love them, I love those topicals. They're great skincare ingredients. But if you were to use those before a laser treatment, you could become burned by the laser. Also, antibiotics too. They can make you photosensitive. So if a patient comes in and they're not off of antibiotics 14 days from their last dose, I would have to turn them away. We would reschedule for their next for the next appointment and just make sure it's 14 days from their last dose, because antibiotics can make you photosensitive to not only the sunlight, but also laser treatments.
Okay. And I've heard that even for just waxing.
Yes.
You know, like waxing, which is something super simple, you guys, but you know, trust the experts, right?
Yeah.
So your medical people or the true experts, not just like TikTok, y'all, okay? Because that is not where we should be getting our information for these procedures. And this is why I'm so happy that we're actually talking to the beauty industry experts.
Me too.
And them teaching us really, this is really what it is. And it doesn't just come from you watching somebody else. It's because of your educational background.
Yeah, and the experience of just working with all different types of skin, all different types of people.
Yeah.
Every case is different and unique, and that's what makes my job so much fun. Well, it's not even a job to me. It's more of a passion.
Yeah.
It's a passion that turned into a career, and each case is so unique and different, and it makes going to work so much fun, and it doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah.
Which I love. That's what I love about
that.
it. Yeah.
That's the goal, right? I'm like, that's the goal. So you've been in the industry now since 2018. What are like the technology advancements that you have seen so far?
Yeah. So when I first started, I was just an esthetician, graduated from G Skin and Beauty. And so I was doing just basic facials and everything like that. And so I was more into like the high frequency and the microcurrent and all of that. So I still love those devices, and I still utilize them. I love a steamer. But now I've seen just getting into lasers, just learning more about the physics behind it. It's getting so much more advanced than what it used to be, because the lasers about 10 to 20 years ago, they were traumatizing people because it wasn't only going after the targeted chromophore. It was going after the whole tissue of the skin. So it was thermally damaging a lot of people's skin. So a lot of people were experiencing burns, scarring, hyperpigmentation. And so if somebody got tattoo removal or even laser hair removal 10 to 20 years ago, they'll say it's the most painful thing ever and that they would never do it again, or they have a horror story. But now the technology has advanced so much that it really is only designed to go after that targeted chromophore, and it's not going to disrupt the surrounding tissue. So it has less downtime, less discomfort, and it's going to be more healthy and effective for the skin.
Okay, so now is it really just determined by like the circumference that it's hitting, or is it the depth, or is it both?
So with lasers, so we have a wavelength. So different wavelengths are able to penetrate into the skin at different nanometers. Okay. So we measure wavelengths with nanometers, and then we're also able to manipulate how much we're treating in an area of like the width and the depth of that nanometer with the spot size. So I can kind of adjust how deep or how shallow I want the laser and the energy to go into the skin with the wavelength. So there's a lot of different things that I can kind of customize to go after either hair, or I can go after the ink in the skin.
Okay, that is super interesting. I think that all of this is fascinating.
It is.
And I can see how it keeps you so interested because you're constantly learning. I can't imagine what lasers will be in the next 10 years.
I am so excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
Yeah. And I'm sure, you're in the education aspect of this.
Yes.
So you're probably one of the first ones to see all this stuff and practice and play with all of these new machines. So, so my next question is for all the girls who have, gotten their aesthetics licensing and they want to further their career. What does that look like? Like, what did you have to do to become like a laser technician?
In Illinois, anyone can become a laser technician.
Okay.
So in other states, you have to have either a license to become a laser technician. Like in Arizona, you have to have a license. In Dallas, you have to have a license. In California, there's different rules and regulations. Each state has different rules and regulations. Illinois we kind of have it sweet here, where you have to go through the course and you have to get your certification. And so that's what I did through the Arizona location is I went through and I got my certification and I came back to Illinois and I was already working in a med spa as a medical esthetician. And so I just added that on and I started utilizing the lasers there. And then I started getting more and more into the lasers. So I definitely recommend that if you're in the beauty industry and you're an esthetician and you're like, what's next? What do I do next? Keep investing in your education. Keep investing in yourself. Keep kind of just finding different things that you're interested in. Go to different conferences, network. Keep educating yourself over and over. Every year, just like learn something new or add on to the education that you already have. But I highly recommend if you're looking to kind of take things to the next level and make it a little bit more advanced and do a lot more fun things and have more tools that you can utilize to get the results that you're looking to get with your patients, I would highly recommend becoming a laser technician. And there's so many doors that it can open because you don't have to just be a laser technician. You could become a laser rep if you wanted to.
Or an educator.
Yes,
like you.
Yep.
You.
I know exactly how nervous I was when I was sitting in that seat in Arizona and not knowing the difference between what hertz was in milliseconds on a laser and the wavelength and just trying to figure everything out. So I know what it's like to kind of start from the bottom and be so nervous and just not know anything at the time. And trust me, you will figure it out and you have to just keep practicing and doing it. It's repetition and then eventually it just sticks and it's like second nature to me now.
Yeah, like a walk in the park, right?
Yep, I know English and lasers.
And lasers. I love that. I love that. I love that. So I know G Skin and Beauty Institute is launching their laser training programs in Arizona and in Nevada. And
That's awesome.
so hopefully soon they'll come into Illinois. But I know that for licensing and things like that, Illinois can be a little strict. So when somebody is looking, let's say you've taken like an aesthetics class and you've gotten your certification through this, like the Illinois Board of Education or the Illinois Department of Public and Professional Regulation. Okay, so then once you're done doing that, you take your training. Can you practice in any facility or do they have to have like a medical director? How does that work?
Yeah, so if you're working in a day spa, then it's going to be kind of like less strict of, you're more just going to be doing kind of like basic facials. You can do waxing and things like that. But if you want to get more into advanced things like doing like microneedling, you're going to have to work in a med spa with a medical director. So you'll be working underneath a doctor that would be the medical director of that med spa. And that's how you're able to do more advanced techniques like the microneedling and the other treatments as well.
Good. So everybody make sure that wherever you're going to go get these treatments done, either laser hair removal, treatments for your acne, hyperpigmentation, tattoo laser removal, permanent makeup removal, that you're going to a medical or a medically established facility. Okay, it's not just like you're going to go to your hair salon and Susie does it in the back.
Yeah.
Because that's not right.
Yeah, we're not getting laser treatments in people's basements.
Yeah. Yes. Don't go to people's houses. Don't go to the basements. Make sure that they're licensed by either a medical doctor. I know that now in Illinois, like PAs can do like medical, they can become a medical director for different locations. And I think CRNAs as well, right?
And I think nurse practitioners kind of have a little bit of leverage as well too. So, but I know that definitely any place that you go to, you want to make sure they have a medical director. If you're going to a med spa, just ask them, who's your medical director? And if they say, then I would not choose that place for my treatments, because if something goes wrong, you need that medical director to be there to kind of help evaluate what happened and how to move forward in a healthy manner and fix the situation to keep the patient safe.
Oh, most definitely.
And to make sure that everything's regulated, like the products that they're using on you. Like if you're getting Botox and filler, you want to make sure that they're not ordering it from like Temu or something.
Yes. Well, there was just like this huge report, right, that came out that people, I don't know if it was just Illinois or if it was nationwide, but people were buying like illegitimate Botox and things like that.
Yeah, there was some fake Botox going around. So definitely there's all different types of that neurotoxin. But you want to make sure that they're actually getting it from the manufacturer.
Yes.
There's no reason to kind of like save money and try and order something that's not the true product and mislead patients into thinking that they're getting something that they're not, because there can be severe side effects to that. And it's just not ethical to do on patients. If they're paying for a product, they should be getting that product that they're paying for. But there is a lot of different, there's Dysport, there's Botox. They're all similar kind of Botox injectables, but they have different names.
Yeah. So now with like the medical lasers, is there maintenance that has to be done on these machines to keep up? Like what's going on? Like how do you know? Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure that you take care of your lasers. Our lasers are our babies, so we have to take care of them. They're very fragile and they're very expensive, and there's so many different pieces that go into the laser, and there's a lot of different lenses. So you have to make sure that you're cleaning the lenses regularly after each treatment to make sure that there's like if you're doing laser hair removal, little floaties of hair can come up on the lenses. And if that hair sticks onto the lens, the energy will identify it as kind of like a dark substance on the lens, and it will just shatter that lens, and it could fry out your lasers. So
wow.
And it's a lot of money to maintenance a laser, and it's no fun for a laser to go down when you have a full weeks of patients that you have to now reschedule and you don't know when it's going to be maintenance. I recommend also having insurance on your lasers or warranty, because when you don't have it on there, that's going to be the time when it goes down, and then you're going to be scrambling to find somebody who knows how to fix it. And there's really not people out there that just kind of like do contract work of just fixing lasers. You usually, and you should, send it back to the manufacturer to have it properly evaluated and fixed.
Okay. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for everything that you've shared with us. And I always like to ask, like, is there something that you think the general public doesn't know about? What is like your biggest tip about when people are looking for laser treatments? What is the biggest thing that you think is important for them to look at before they commit to their technician?
I would recommend for the patients to kind of look into, first kind of evaluate what you're trying to treat on yourself, and then look into the different machines that they have out there. And then you can find a med spa that has that specific equipment that you're looking for. So if you're looking for a med spa that has a Peak-Away laser, you can find, like on the Peak-Away website, they have a section on there that
for the providers.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they have that with a lot of different, like even with skincare products or different treatments, you can find on the providers list on there. They usually will have that on there where you can find different med spas that have the specific equipment that you're looking for. But also if you Google it, a lot of times with the way that we market ourselves, we'll include what lasers we're using. And that way you can find the provider as well too.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for everybody that wants to continue to be educated by beauty professionals, I definitely encourage you to keep following us on our website at Beauty Talk Podcast and on our social media. And Hannah, thank you so much again for being here and for sharing this wealth of knowledge with everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. It was truly a pleasure.